Yeah, I have
Ganito
two
na lang,
cards.
ako na lang yung judge, ikaw na lang
Oh,
sumagot.
it was good.
Thank you.
Yes, yes.
We don't believe in allowance.
No.
We don't. Bakit ko ba ginagawa ko? Isa sa mga pinag-vacations.
What a privilege to be invited to.
He'd open the door, let them come in, and
Very surprised that they really know each other.
Siguro, it's because of Secret Love Song, I've gained so many.
have more music platform.
Some kaya excited to see me. I've always driven parang some experience.
You can't have the best of both worlds.
Live, on a positive way.
Kasi end of the day, we're highly interactive.
Bed sheet, diba? Kasi yung feeling ng wife.
Kailangan maging tiger live.
But today you're gonna learn something that you didn't know yesterday. So.
Walang anuman, Helen.
Kung ano man yung salary mo, ita times 10 pa.
You are just as British as us.
So,
And I'll be tuning to next
maraming salamat. Thank you very much, man. That's, the end there, man.
Thank you so much. Watch love and God bless you too.
Yeah.
Babalik ka rin. Oh my God. Good evening, magandang gabi sa lahat ng mga kasama natin tonight. And welcome to another episode of Boy Dubai Live. And anong naalala nyo when you hear that song? Kasi ako, bago ako mag-OFW, like 14 years ago, this song always rings in my head. Kasi parang this tells the story of typical overseas Filipinos who go to abroad para magtrabaho kasi we tend to set deadlines on ourselves. We tend to plan na I will stay abroad or I will stay in Dubai for my case for only a couple of years or maybe maximum of 5 years and then I will go back home. Kasi I would think na siguro in 5 years I can already save some money. Tapos pag uwi ko doon, I can already live the life I am thinking of or I'm dreaming of. Or maybe I could start a business. And then the real life happens. No? Ang sarap balikan nung mga panahon na akala natin ganun lang kadali yung buhay abroad because siguro sa nakita natin sa media, yung effect ng mga napapanood nating movie. And aminin naman nating lahat o hindi, ako, I was one of those people na na-influensyahan ng pelikulang Dubai. Yes, and although my story is a bit different because my dad invited me to come over to Dubai and really thankful for that, I still was not planning. I mean, hindi ako nakapagplano ng maayos. I wasn't really prepared. Hindi ako nakapag-research kung anong meron sa Dubai. Hindi ko alam kung anong klaseng trabaho ang naghihintay sa akin doon. Add to the fact na I was enjoying my life back home. Yung mga activities ko on the radio, yung mga ginagawa ko on my organization, my volunteer organization, and my work. Kaya hindi ganun kadali mag-isip na umalis going to Dubai. But then, it has to happen. Sabi ko, okay, I have to consider that. And I will give myself a personal timeline of 2 years. 2 taon. And sabi ko, after 2 years, babalik na nga ako sa Pilipinas. So, a couple of days ago, nagtanong ako sa Facebook kung ano din ba yung mga pinlano nila during the very first few years of their stay here in Dubai. And ito nga yung ating mga nakitang sagot. No? Sabi ko, ilang taon ka lang magstay sa Dubai or abroad, kamo, nung umpisa? So, karamihan nagsasabi 2 years, bali 1 contract now, I'm turning 5 years. Sabi ni Jeff, after Expo Kalas, now I want to be a local here. Ang dami nagsasabi, si Lily May, sabi niya 2 years now, 7 years na siya. Si Sel, 2 years lang din, tapos ngayon pang 6 years ko na to. Sino pa? Si Sheila, 5 years, inabot ng 18 years. Oh my God. And si Lance, interestingly, never ako nagbigay ng deadline, sabi niya. Until last year, saka ako nag-decide. And so on, ang dami pang nag-comment dito. So si Jason, sabi niya 2 years din. Tapos ilang taon na ngayon, inabot na ng 13 years. So halos lahat ng istorya pare-pareho. Ano nga ba yung meron kung bakit nagkakaganon yung ating decision or yung ating pananaw when it comes to going back home? So, to further help me discuss about this particular topic, I would like to introduce to you to a very good friend who will help me digest kung ano ba talaga yung mga iba't iba nating istorya, pananaw at perspective sa particular na topic na ito. And I'm talking about none other than, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome. Sorry, mali ang, sorry. That's for another episode, sorry. I'm talking about Michael Reyes. Hey, Mike. Good evening. Magandang gabi.
Good evening. Nagulat ako, kala ko kasama natin si Bea eh.
Nadulas ako. Actually, nagulat din ako. Kumusta ka? How are you? First and foremost, my first question. How are you doing these days?
Now, it's much better kasi hindi tulad nung March saka nung April na very unknown yung things to come. No? You really don't know.
Yeah. Oo, no?
Pero ngayon na meron na tayo konting experience kasi before napapanood mo lang sa news na may biglang mga bagsak. Pero ngayon nakita mo na talaga, 'di ba sa neighborhood mo, sa community mo. You are more kalmado in a sense na in perspective ng pandemic. So ngayon much better and ayun na nakakapag-adapt na sa new normal na tinatawag.
But meron lang news kanina tumataas na naman yung numbers dito sa UAE. So it's quite parang a new thing when the trend is going down, biglang ayun na naman pabalik na naman si COVID. No?
I think that's the second wave. Second wave is coming. Either we like it or not, talagang nandun siya kasi considering the number of infection before, if you're going to do the math, definitely you're going to infect someone else. So second wave. So it is what it is, and we have to hold on lang.
Good. I hope everything really turns out well. Ano lang to, nudge, tapos pabalik na rin tayo sa tamang trend na mas tanggap-tanggap. So Mike, I don't know kung narinig mo yung music natin sa background. Alam mo, marami tayong conversations in the past, no? Yeah. Marami na tayong naging conversations in the past about the length of stay. Mike, you've been around the world. You've been everywhere. You've been to the South America, you've been to the East Asia, you've been all over the world, di ba? And I don't know if you are someone who plans your stay, particularly siguro dito sa last stint mo so far sa Dubai,
In
no? If you
Dubai?
plan to stay, yes.
Yeah, siguro kasi nung first time na umalis ako ng Philippines, hindi ko masabi na may plan ako kasi I'm too young and only child naman ako and my mom's not even in the Philippines. So,
Yeah.
talagang naging parang okay kung saan man ako dalhin. Pero ang pumunta ko dito, ang sa akin lang is 3 years lang talaga.
3
Yung
years.
one contract rule.
Gaano ka nakatagal uli dito?
Oh gosh, 10 years.
10 years. All right. I think every one of us is in the same boat. Hindi natin makakaila yun. Siguro kung mayroon man talagang nag-stick dun sa plano niyan, mag-stay here for 2 years at nakauwi ng Pilipinas for 2 years, siguro sila yung talagang under contract pa rin ng kanilang mga employer back home in the Philippines. The contract ended and they go back home. But for many of us, 99% hindi nangyayari, hindi natutupad yung initial plan natin. Gusto kong alamin kung bakit, you know. And I invited a lot of our friends, Mike, here. And one of them is a very good friend, a blogger actually, who really had a good career dito sa Dubai. And eventually, he decided to go back home kasi I don't know, maybe let's allow him to speak, no? And from his story, maybe we can digest kung ano ba talaga yung naging trail niya, no? So let's hear it for my good friend, our good friend, Mr. Kenneth Surat.
Hi, hi everybody.
Let's
My name is
see.
Kenneth, and I work in Dubai as an architect and a designer in an interior design and events production company. Stayed in Dubai for 10 years, and I moved back to the Philippines last 2016. How did I know that it was time to go back to the Philippines? Well, one factor is that because it was 10 years already, so naisip ko na it's about time na I've been away from my family for quite a long time already. Tapos, isa ring factor that it helped me in my decision is that in my mind I was thinking, because I was still young by that time, na I want to venture and see what's out there. Before I planned to leave, there are a lot of times that I thought it will be my last year, pero it was pushed back because I'm thinking if I will eventually move out and go back to the Philippines, that dapat as much as possible. I have some savings, I have money to start with, because so if ever I thought of establishing a business like what I have now, I thought it will be nice if I have that parang at least don't have the pressure of starting from nothing. So I pushed it back hanggang umabot na nga na I stayed 10 years, and I think I told myself na it's time. When I arrived back in the Philippines, it wasn't that easy because I have to adjust, because yun nga, 10 years I was away for 10 years, and I never really had a professional experience here in the Philippines. Because when I graduated, I left already and worked abroad. Big adjustment, but right now, so far, well adjusted na, and I'm so happy as well because I got so many connections back in Dubai, which also helped me a lot in terms of establishing a network internationally and also local. Ayun, so that's it. So hope you guys are safe and take care, everyone.
Thank you, Kenneth Surat, for that perspective, for that point of view. So he stayed 10 years dito sa UAE before finally calling it, that's it, I will go back home. And interestingly, he has a plan to do a business pag-uwi sa Pilipinas. I think many of us share the same reason, no, na if I wanted to go back for good, either I really have a good retirement plan or meron akong business na gagawin or I have an investment. What are your thoughts on his story, Mike?
Siguro I can say na isa ako sa mga witness nung talagang tinatahak niya yung ganung klaseng decisions. Actually, when I met Ken, I think parang that time he's already planning, and then na-extend siya in 3 years pa. Parang 1 contract pa ang dumating. And ang talagang ang talagang nag-push sa kanya doon is the passion talaga to step on to the unknown. Kasi gaya na sabi niya, this will be his first time na i-try yung maging professional sa Philippines. And who knows, 'di ba? Kasi talagang nasanay siya dito in 'di ba? It's really different. And siguro yun yung nag-hold back pa sa kanya. Yung talagang one na string na talagang sinabi niya, okay, I'm gonna do it. Yung support group niya. And yan, nandito kami, tsaka yung mga network niya, na talagang encourage him to do that. Dahil kasi kung hindi niya gagawin yan that 2016, hindi niya yun gagawin ever. So, looking back to sa decision niya yun, it's not easy, but it's worth it to be with the family and to travel the world. Actually, Ken is well traveled talaga.
Yes. I think that's also you're right, no? Kasi yung group, yung circle mo will really play a big role when it comes to decisions like this. Kasi although it's personal, it is also relational in society, societal, if I can say it that way, communal. Kasi from one familiar community, you are moving into another community you are not familiar with. But kudos to Kenneth kasi he's doing good. Last time I checked with him, he's really doing well. I love all the work that he's doing right now. And I think he's been all smiles from the time that he has decided to take that step going back home. Ayun.
Exactly.
So, business, savings, tapos yung familiarity sa kailangan kong gawin when I go back home. Those are the 3 things na nakuha ko kay Kenneth so far. But let's listen naman dun sa isa natin pang guest on a video. Let's hear it from Joy Kaasi, also a blogger.
Aside from giving birth to a baby girl, ang pagiging solo parent kasi if you're abroad, it will be hard kung magsistay ka away from your family. So basically, nung umuwi ako last year, it was a really hard decision for me kasi during that time my line of work is something that I really enjoyed. So I take pictures, I do digital marketing. The nature of my job is primarily on digital marketing. And I was on maternity leave, and at first I was thinking to come back talaga. Parang iniisip ko pa, give me like a month or 2 months to sort of rest, and I will try to assess kung kakayanin ko na agad bumalik. But initially talaga, gusto ko talagang bumalik ng Dubai. Kasi nga, maganda yung trabaho, and the pay was good, hindi naman siya ganong kahirap. Kaya lang, in between my maternity leave and I was trying to weigh things, first, tinignan ko yung state ko. I'm a solo parent. If I'm gonna live there without any family member to help me out with the child, magiging mahirap.
Wow. That is from a solo parent's point of view. I totally understand. I mean, if you have a family to go back home to the Philippines, yes, I think it would be easier. It would be more encouraging for you to go home rather than stay. You don't know what awaits you as a solo parent.
Yeah. Hello?
Yes, Mike, I can hear you.
Okay. So actually I admire that decision kasi I'm a product of a solo parent din. To be with your child is worth fighting for, worth living
Yeah.
for. Kasi alam mo yan, kasi you're a parent, na there's only few years na makakasama mo talaga. And yung nurturing time, hindi na yun babalik. So, hindi naman sa minamaliit ko yung mga nag-abroad, but those parents who take risks na hindi mapawalay sa kanilang mga anak, lalo na sa yung mga baby pa talaga. This is something really na no-brainer. Talagang masasabi mo, yes, it's time to go because it's my child. So, yun.
Right.
For me, that's like...
Yes, and there's also a good design to that, na sometimes, on her case, I wish I can speak for her, but on her case, I would rather have her be closer to her parents and to her family. And yeah, I admire Joy because she's thinking more of the child rather than herself. And ang maganda dyan, meron siyang mga opportunities na nakita as she did this decision. Let's listen some more of what she has to say.
Pangalawa, when I gave birth also kasi, I was breastfeeding. I was exclusively breastfeeding my child. There was a conversation between me and my boss wherein parang nagkaroon ng issue where they were kind of like making me decide to stop breastfeeding, or yung exact term na ginamit ng previous employer ko is let me ask HR if breastfeeding was needed. And I'm like, nakaka-offend yun. Parang, are you deciding if papakainan ko or papadedehin ko ang aking anak? Although, I know for a fact that in the UAE, they really are promoting breastfeeding the children. Kaya ako, medyo na-confused ako with the setup from our company na, okay, we are not supporting breastfeeding. Parang ganun yung dating sa akin. So, parang yung one of the issues na tinanong din sa akin ng employer ko when I finally decided to come home is yung how are you gonna sustain the baby? How are you gonna what do you call this? How are you gonna work? Are you gonna easily find a job? So, yung nature kasi ng job ko, since it's digital marketing and medyo patok siya sa panahon ngayon, especially may pandemic pa, yun, nasabayan pa ng pandemic, hindi ako nahirapan agad talaga na makahanap ng work. Although, nung time, I gave birth kasi April 28, and then nagkaroon talaga ako ng office work, mga September ba? September. So, ilang months din yung inantay ko. So, it gave me time to really rest and focus on me and my child lang. Tapos, when September came and then merong mga applications kasi my profile on LinkedIn, sa JobStreet, yung mga recruitment sites sa Philippines naman, my profile is visible, kaya madali rin akong nakahanap ng work. And to think na meron akong experience with multicultural employees or multicultural organization, members of their organization, madali akong nakahanap ng work. So, I think maybe for those who will decide to really come back home for good, kailangan yung i-weigh yung situation and look at the industry where you want to work for, kung babalik ka talaga for good. Kasi technically, madali lang makahanap ng trabaho dito kung matyaga ka lang talagang maghanap and i-apply mo yung mga nagamit mo sa experience mo dyan sa Dubai.
Madali lang daw makahanap ng trabaho sa Pilipinas kung i-apply mo yung mga na-experience mo dyan sa Dubai.
That's the mother instinct there kicking. Imagine, the perspective is really different. And yeah, I mean, if you're a mom and you're a single parent, kahit nasan ka you're with your kid, you're going to survive. And talagang yung other side of her actually grow. And ayun nga, yung yung skills niya talagang ginamit niya to leverage yung opportunity na meron siya sa Philippines. And again, that decision, that strong and bold decision to go home for the child, gives her different perspective and nakikita niya yung mga opportunity
Yes.
na sa tingin niya appropriate sa kanyang skill set.
And she's seeing the fruits of what that decision already right now. And look what's happening in the world also. Everything moves onto digital. Everybody works remote. Well, many people now work remotely. And rightly so for her. Parang if she is thinking to work abroad, why not stay in the Philippines and find abroad and find work remotely? Probably that is also there. And there's a lot of remote work opportunities, especially for people who have experience in the digital. And speaking of work, Mike, I would like to introduce to you a couple. They're a very good friend of mine, and I wanted to hear their perspective on what made them decide to move from Dubai back to the Philippines. So, siguro, no?
To hear it also, let's hear it from them.
Yeah, let's hear it from them. They are joining us live from the Philippines. It's already 12:24 midnight in the Philippines. So thank you so much for joining us, Angel and Romar. Romar and Angel Love Santos.
Akala ko si Sarah at si Mateo eh.
Magandang gabi.
Magandang gabi.
Kamusta muna kayo? How are you doing? And thank you for staying up late.
Yeah. Can you hear us na? Nakamute kami, sorry.
Okay. So yun nga, yes. I hope you are doing okay sa mga panahon ngayon. No? So parang when I posted that on Facebook last week, you commented, right? And then we talk about offline. We talk about you have a good story to tell. And can you tell us that story? And then, siguro walk us through from when the decision happened and then how did you really decide about it as a couple?
Yeah, we want to know.
Okay, start.
Siguro, since ako yung naunang pumunta sa Dubai, I'll start. I was a nurse in Dubai. I stayed in Dubai for almost 3 years. Since 2014 hanggang 2017. My original plan, I think, was to finish yung contract, syempre, which was 5 years yun. So kung ginawa ko yun, 2019 ako umuwi. But then, we got married around
Kailan ba yan?
2016.
2016.
We got married 2016. Nagtugma naman yung sagot na.
Tugma naman. Yeah.
So, ayun. And then, ano ba?
So nung kinasal kami noong April 2016, the question is, kasi parehas kaming working, so meron akong career here sa Philippines that time. So, technology consultant ako. Matagal na rin ako doon sa company. And then siya, okay din naman yung career niya sa Dubai. So that was the initial dilemma nung kinasal kami. Kasi idea is gusto namin magkasama kami. So to cut the story short, so the ending is ako yung nag-giveaway. So ako yung nag-resign. And then I moved. Yeah. So that was January 2017. So high hopes kasi so may work siya doon, and then yung IT sa Dubai okay din. So medyo high hopes kami na parang magkasama kami. So anything parang ang ano namin nun is as long as magkasama kami,
Conquer the world.
as long as magkasama kami, since yun yung design talaga for marriage, i-bless kami ni Lord with yung desires namin. Kaso, so nag-apply ako, pero during my stay din sa Dubai, nung yun din yung time na na-develop yung spiritual namin, yung spiritual relationship namin with God. So kasi sobrang dami kong oras.
Oo, no?
So ang dami kong oras. So marami yung oras para magbasa ng Bible that time. So I got to know the Lord better. Doon talaga nabuo yung yung spiritual relationship ko. And then siguro mga 2 months, 3 months into the, or 2 months into the sa stay namin doon, or stay ko actually. Start na parang mag-speak sa akin si Lord parang nire-remind niya ako during the mga quiet times ko na nire-remind niya ako dun sa kung ano talaga yung important sa akin. Is it the opportunity to earn more, or is it family? Is it parang kung ang goal namin is magkasama kami ni Angel, it could have been done also with her moving back to Philippines with me. So parang nagkaroon ng medyo parang gising. Parang ganun yung So in the course ng yun yung nagiging leading sa akin. And then one day, umuwi si Angel from work.
When you say leading, Gomar, Angel, ano yung specific na lead? Ano yung specific na message or voice or whatever we can call it na naging naging base ninyo to follow through on this decision?
Yeah, so for me, yun yung parang ang sinasabi sa akin, nire-remind ako na it's actually yung family nyo sa Philippines. You can still be together as a couple, as husband and wife, even sa Philippines. So yun yung parang sa akin na parang siguro huge part of the decision kaya nagpunta akong Dubai is yung earning talaga. It's the earning part. Parang ganun. Kasi even sa Philippines, magkasama kami, yun nga lang, less yung earning opportunity, parang ganun. Yeah. And then one day, umuwi si Angel from work, medyo hindi mapinta yung mukha niya.
Oh.
Parang pagod. And then,
it was siguro parang during quiet time din yun na one of my quiet time during those days na the Lord spoke to me na parang yung story was about yung kay Abraham na kung saan man dalhin ni Lord si Abraham, he was blessed, parang ganun. Tapos somehow na-relate siya sa amin nga. Tapos na kung dadalhin kami ni Lord sa Philippines nga, and kung si Lord yung magdadala sa amin pauwi ulit dun, still He will bless us regardless kung di ba as usually sa Pilipinas naman talaga pag sinabi mong abroad parang it's synonymous to success di ba parang ganon. And
it's as if parang no-brainer siya parang Philippines or abroad parang ganon. Normal.
Tapos pa ako nun, ako yung namin, parang ano tawag doon? Breadwinner sa family namin. So, nung nagkakaroon ako ng ganung bang message from God, although meron parang fear sa akin, nung sinabi ko sa kanya, ang peaceful. Tapos nagulat ako, nung inopen ko sa kanya.
Nagulat kami?
Parehas kami nagulat sa isa't isa. Kasi, yun na pala yung sinasabi sa amin ni Lord.
Kinakatok na kami, same message.
Individual.
Magkahiwalay. So,
nag-jive siya sa aming dalawa.
Nung una parang ako, medyo in denial ako na parang baka mama it's just my ego na parang wala kasi akong work. Tapos bilang nung one day na umuwi nga siya and then sinabi na yun, parang poof.
Wow.
It was really been God dealing with us separately. And then He allowed na magkausap kami on that instance na we have already received yung message niya. So, dali nung pinag-usapan namin about the possible scenarios na syempre kung
Realistically speaking din, practicality.
Medyo mahirap siya talaga. Kumbaga,
Daming adjustments na syempre kailangan namin paghandaan, ganun.
and yung idea of obeying dun sa leading niya sa'yo, sobrang scary that time kasi nga uuwi kami na parehas kaming walang work. Practically uuwi kami with just the savings, parang ganon. And pinahawakan namin, may story akong naalala na nabasa nun yung tungkol kay yung kay Job ba yun? Na kahit anong tigas ng ulo niya, talagang dun pa rin siya nag-end up kung ano yung will sa kanya, kung ano yung plan sa kanya ni Lord. So parang kami, we really stick dun sa idea of obeying talaga. Trust and obey.
Wow.
Yung pinahawakan talaga namin.
It's
when we cement yung decision na tara, let's go. Parang gano'n.
Wow.
And that was, I think, 3 months before tayo nakabili ng ticket.
we might know. If you hear their words, it's all trusting and obeying the Lord. I think that's the beauty of it, right? If you have that, they started their story by saying that they heard or they saw a leading from the Lord. And you wouldn't have that if you don't have the relationship. Magkaiba pa nga sa kanila hindi sila sabay Separately, nasabi ni Romar kanina.
I'm just wondering, ano yung timeline nung bago kayo mag-come up with the decision? Ilang months, weeks?
Ako kasi in 2 months nung nasa Dubai na ako, kasi ang dami ko talagang oras So, yun talaga yung dinil Yun talaga yung dinil sa akin. Yun talaga yung na-deal sa akin ni Lord nung time na yun. And then siguro mga 1 month, no? Kasi on ano yun mga June or May, no?
But you have to admire this couple kasi it's the other way around. Usually, families are broken geographically because of the desire to earn more pagdating sa abroad. And saludo naman ako sa lahat ng mga nagsasakripisyong pamilya on that regard. But Angel and Romar decided to stick to what they believe is God's design for family, to be together. Doon pa lang sa pagluwas ni Romar from Manila to Philippines, from Manila to Dubai, di ba? And then when nothing seemed to happen their way, they recognize that probably God has some other ways or plans for them. They move together back to the Philippines to preserve that design, to keep intact, to stay together. Saludo rin ako.
So parang 2 months time to 2-3 months time na yun yung talagang paulit-ulit sa lahat ng mga binabasa kong scripture talaga. Kasi binasa ko yung, kasi ako sa New Testament So, as I go through dun sa mga chapters, talagang yun ang pinana sa akin. Nire-remind ako na ang important is family talaga. Hindi talaga yung so parang baka kailangan ko ng although nahiya nga ako dahil sa ego ko, baka ego lang yun. And then mga 1 month later yun, tsaka siya nagsalita. Kasi hindi namin naging topic talaga hindi namin pinag-usapan. Kaya sobrang amazing lang rin. Na 1 month after na parang na-realize ko na paulit-ulit ito yung gusto kong mangyari sa iyo. So yun, nag-decide kami.
Again, it's all the leading, it's all obeying whatever he is telling you because you from the very beginning been faithful to always follow what he tells you.
And I just want to ask you, did you ask counsel for yourself, family niyo sa Philippines, ma'am, that during that month period o sa inyo lang? Meron ba kayong pinagsabihan?
We informed them na ito yung God is leading us na umuwi.
As soon as nakapag-decide kami. Pero pray pa rin natin yun kung na-confirm. Parang continuously
we are asking na i-confirm talaga sa amin ni Lord. Kasi syempre, it's a big decision talaga siya na hindi lang kami yung affected, pati yung families namin. So syempre, involve namin sila dun sa process din na well, may nakaintindi, may medyo may
mix talaga yung reaction
na parang syempre, yun nga, kung practicality wise, 'di ba? Parehas kaming earning dapat. Tapos bigla kami uuwi na bilang
parang hindi siya nagme-make sense na parang I'm earning sa Manila, she's earning sa Dubai. So why not work separately muna and then makaipon, and then tsaka daw kami magsama. So parang yung ibang ibang parang
may mga ganung advice before.
So, Omar, ang nangyari pa is ending is parang parehas kami bumalik na Manila with nothing. Kasi parehas kami walang work.
Omar, Angel, now let's look 3 years after that decision. So how did you think, or how do you feel how God is dealing with you, or how God has led you to until this time around? Meron bang regrets on your part, or what's going on?
Well, hindi siya easy.
the first part.
Oo, kasi before kami nakauwi, nabuntis siya. So that's another parang another bump na parang you need to rethink kasi nabuntis siya. So anong gagawin niyo, umuwi kayo para sa walang work? Pero still we push through with the decision, umuwi kami. And it's I think 5 months din yata na wala akong work. So hindi siya ganun kadali. 5 months akong walang work. And then start kami mag-put up ng business, tinry namin. Parang with the parang inisip namin nun is baka mamaya hindi talaga work, baka business. So may opportunity na dumating, so nagkasabay nung nag-open kami ng business, nag-start na bigla ako natanggap dun sa work. So hindi tas in 2 months time manganganak siya. So parang the learning was really hindi siya parang hindi dapat circumstantial yung decision. So medyo nung time na yun parang iba yung we're still learning na parang we're seeing we're seeing first hand na yung decision na yung will niya, minsan pag ginamit mo yung circumstantial to make your decision, minsan hindi talaga siya magsasucceed kasi yung plans niya for you, yun talaga. So right now, after namin makabalik, so ako may work ako doon sa same company, and then si Angel, she's working as a social media manager.
Remotely.
And then meron kami 2 kids.
And tsaka, actually napag-usapan namin yan ni Romar parang di ba nga pandemic, na kung tinuloy namin yung plan namin na uuwi kami ng 2019, di ba dapat yung parang initial ng contract ko. Tapos uwi kami 2019, tapos 2020 na tayo.
So kung umuwi kami, wala kami stress, and then pandemic happened, so, 2020.
Sa parang looking back, nakita namin yung at work talaga si Lord dun sa timeline pa rin talaga. Although nung una nga medyo may mga struggles, ganyan. Pero in the end, you just really have to trust na meron talaga siyang plan for you kasi na yung totoo talaga yung sinabi na when you obey, blessings follow talaga.
Amen.
And hindi mo talaga hindi mo mafa-fathom din talaga yung wisdom na meron siya. Na parang that time kahit ang pinanghawakan lang talaga namin is yung leading and then trust and obey.
Yeah.
And then
if there is one sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so parang titingnan namin yung timeline, parang so ito nakita na namin na parang kaya pala ganito yung sinasabi niya sa amin is ito yung plan niya for us. So yun, we're just glad na we yielded dun sa kung ano yung sinasabi niya sa amin 3 years ago.
Wow, 3 years ago.
3 years ago.
Kailan lang, di ba? For being open to story of yours. Indeed, I was reminded, Mike, about Proverbs 3:7. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding, diba? And on all your ways, you have to acknowledge Him, and He will make your path. It doesn't mean na hindi niya sabi na, everything will be all right, but He will just direct you, guide you. And Omar, Angel, it's 12:42 midnight there.
Yeah.
Maraming salamat for sharing your story to us. I will let you go. Ayoko nang
Thank you for
mapulit.
having us.
Thank you, Angel and Omar.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you.
So we have another special guest who will share her story naman in connection to what Omar and Angel have said. So I am talking about a good friend also of mine, our good friend. She was a journalist here in the UAE. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it from Janice.
Hello everyone, my name is Janice Ponce de Leon. I used to work as a reporter with Gulf News in Dubai. My husband and I recently retired from overseas work after 8 years for me and around 13 years for my husband. The question that I'm tasked to answer right now is, how did I know that it's time for us to go home for good? This is a very difficult question to answer. It took me months to decide. My husband had been wanting to go home for good since 2014, so his heart was already settled. All he needed was to convince me to go home. It all started in September of last year when I was suffering from burnout, and I prayed to God what I would do, and He led me to leave my job. So I resigned in October, and I have since embraced life as a housewife to live a grace-based, simplified life. Now, in January, we came home for a vacation. My husband and I came home for a vacation to attend our family reunion because it was my mom's 60th birthday. Now, I come from a family of OFW, so lahat kami nagsiuwian. And then, I remember every day I would ask the Lord, Lord, is it time for us to go? Is it time for us to go home? Is it time for us to stay in the Philippines? Tapos na ba yung panahon namin sa abroad? And I would pray that every day, and the answer came on the 1st of February. I don't want to sound cheesy, no, pero yung katotohanan lang, naginip talaga ako na nagre-wrestling ako with an angel. At that time, my reading was in the book of Genesis, was when Jacob was wrestling with an angel. And when I woke up, I had that sense of peace na, oo nga, time to go. And God led me to my prayer journal, because in my prayer journal, I have 3 terms kung uuwi na ba talaga kami. First was, if that is the Lord's leading for our 4 good plans, kung leading ba ng Panginoon. Pangalawa, house project. Do we have a house to stay in? Because of course, we want to have our own place. Pangatlo, business, leading ng Panginoon sa aming business. By God's grace, we currently have 2 businesses running. The other one is closed for the moment because of the crisis. But we hope to resume in the next few months. Pero bilang babae, I'm sure nakaka-relate yung ibang kababaihan na, of course, you want security. Is the income we are earning enough for us? Fortunately for us, and by God's grace, our needs are met by our current income in the Philippines. But yung pinakasagot talaga na binigay ng Panginoon on the 1st of February was, una, yung leading sa For Good Plans, He changed my heart. Talagang shift, talagang 180-degree turn na okay, at peace na ako, na uwi na kami. House project, He provided funds for our house project. And sa business naman, nilid niya kami para makita na talagang construction is booming in Palawan, in our hometown. And there is potential, great potential here for my husband to start his own contracting company. So those were the 3 terms I had with God and with my husband, and God answered them as well. So yun yung pinaka naging dahilan kung ba't nasabi ko na, yes, it's time for us to go home. And we praise God for the 8 wonderful years we had in Dubai. Now, if you are one of those who are asking, how should we make the decision? I will leave with you 4 questions that you need to ask yourself. Hopefully, it can help you make the decision. What's the plan? P is for purpose. Have you achieved your purpose in Dubai? Kung ang purpose mo ay mag-ipon, makabili ng lupa, makatayo ng bahay, maka-support sa family, have you achieved that purpose? This is for those who have the privilege to choose, ha? Kasi may iba na talagang forced na silang napapauwi. Pero ito, if you have an opportunity to choose, ask yourself, have you achieved your purpose? Is it the Lord's leading? Leading ba siya ng Panginoon para umuwi na kayo? Ano yung gagawin nyo? Next adventure nyo, next chapter nyo. A is, what is your alternative when you go home? Hindi naman pwedeng wala na kayong gagawin sa Philippines. Mabubore kayo, lalo na kung bata pa kayo. So, what's your alternative? And is that alternative enough to support you, your family, and your retirement? And N is, will you be able to navigate that new chapter of your life with the current situation, the current support system that you have? I hope that God will lead you sa inyong pagdedesisyon. Just like what the book of Proverbs says, there are many plans in a man's heart, nevertheless, the Lord's counsel, that will stand. And so, I hope that the Lord will bless you in your plans and in your decision making.
Thank you so much for that, Janice, and for really
Thank you, Janice.
putting up a good video and with guide plan. Purpose.
Gusto ko sanang kausapin si Janice, tatanong ako.
Baka sagot na, she's watching right now from Palawan. Hello, Janice.
Kaya nga Janice.
What are your thoughts on her perspective, Mike?
Very practical, in a sense na she put some she call it terms, pero para sa akin a guideline.
Yeah.
Ito yung parang magiging guideline ko if I'm going to push through or not. And the thing is, iba yung perspective niya kasi she's a woman and married.
Yes.
So talagang yung security talaga, I don't know how she process things, but so far dun sa video na napanood ko, it's really something na admire sa mga sa babaeng tulad niya na she really pre-decided siya when this thing happened. Wala nang prolong. We're going to do it. And definitely, I think she communicated sa husband niya.
Yep. Yes,
it's very good na ganito kasi things are uncertain. Diba? There is no guarantee. But it's very good you have a clear plan. Clarity. Mm-hmm. So while Ion is having a trouble sa connection niya, we just finished watching Jenny's video, and yes. So we just finished Janice's video at tsaka ayun sana inintay ko si Janice. Ayan, Janice, how did you communicate it sa husband mo? Yung term and everything. Yun yung question ko. So while waiting for Janice's answer, Hey, we're back.
Bumalik na ako.
Bumalik ka na.
Yun, sabi ko na, babalik din eh. Good one, good one. Thank you so much, Gary Valenciano. Next naman. Thank you so much.
Guess natin si Gary.
Yes, you were asking Janice, I don't know if she, ayan, sumagot na si Janice. Let's flash it on the screen. You were asking her kung paano niya communicate yung decision to her husband. So this is what she said. 2014 pa lang, gusto niya na umuwi. Ako yung matagal nag-decide. So when the leading from God came, I shared the decision with him. Pero we were praying every day about it. So somehow, alam niya na rin. Ako, okay, so 2014 pa lang pala gusto niya na umuwi. Siguro sabi ni answered prayer. No? By the way, happy anniversary sa Team Jacknet. I think they just had their anniversary.
Yeah.
And your anniversary
Janice,
yesterday.
your husband prayed for you pala.
Yeah. He prayed for you. You were the answer to his prayers. Anyway, as I was saying kanina bago ako maghang, I think the confidence, Janice's confidence is not based on the geographical thing or the benefits of the geographical location can give her or not at her work. Kasi she's really doing well dito sa Dubai. She's one of the most, what do you call this, excellent journalists ng Gulf News. And all of her reports are really parang connecting and communicating to people, to the readers. No? And then nagulat nga ako when I learned that they are moving for good to the Philippines. So her confidence is in the Lord, and not in the work, not in the salary, not abroad.
Exactly. And tsaka ang common denominator doon sa dalawang couple na nakita natin, no? It's the needing na to be together. Whatever the decision is to be together by the end of the day, is to be with your husband, to be with your wife. No, para yung mga decision before that is like parang sprinkle na lang yun eh. But the main goal is whatever my husband is, whatever my wife is, I will be there. Parang at the end of the day, stick to that design. Kasi I just noticed na pagdating naman na ito naman kasi front and center naman ang mortality. By the end of the day, in our deathbed, it's our wife or husband still.
Yeah.
Our children will grow up probably living far away, but during those last days, during those old days, we are with our wives with us, our husband. Ganon, yung design na ganon na yung best years of your life while you're young na to be together. Kasi you never know what will happen, what will be the next thing to happen.
Correct. You know, we were talking about the season of life last week, Mike, and we caused about the verse or the message in the Bible that says there's always a time for everything. If you are faithful, if you are a couple or a family, and you recognize that indeed there is a time for everything. There's a time for joy. There's time for pain. There's a time for I think it's a good way to decide on things that, as long as you remain together, as how you believe that designed family and marriage is, you will just go on the seasons of joy and the seasons of pain and the seasons of sorrow together, because you believe and you're faithful that along the way God is planning something better.
Ang maganda dun sa chapter na yun, it says also there in the same chapter that He makes it beautiful in His time. That God, sovereign God, He makes it very beautiful. And when I read that passage, chapter before, there is an English word na hindi natin masyado ginagamit ngayon. But it's there that says appropriate. There's an appropriate time. So there's appropriate time for everything. In this season, di ba? Kasi we're not going to harvest corn during January because we're namang corn. There is a time to harvest. And ayun nga, the good thing about it is it reminds me of two in Greek there is two words pagdating sa time yung kairos at saka chronos. The chronos of time means is like this. our clock, di ba, is ticking. No, or whatever we do, talagang magpapass yan. There's nothing we can do. There's nothing, wala tayong magagawa to stop it, di ba? We know pagdating ng March, is tatandaan naman ako ng 1 year. There's no way for to stop it. And there's the other word, Kairos. Kairos is opportune time. There is the best time for that very moment decisions in our lives. It going to pass once in our season. It's not going to go back. This is not the question of God's forgiving you or what, but there is an opportune time that God gave it to us. There's only an opportune time to be your 20s. You're not going back to be your 20s again, di ba? Parang siguro I can relate in a sense na I want to be a dad during my 20s. 26, 25. But, ang nangyari, hindi naman ganun, di ba? Ang nangyari is, it's not gonna happen anymore. I can never be a dad on my 20s anymore. It's not about hindi ako love ni God. No. It's just that opportune time already passed. So, yun. And
Dala mo yung gitara ko.
Akala ko bukas pa uwi mo.
Anong bukas? Sino sabi sa'yo? O, bakit mo nakadala yan?
Kasi Brad, kinulang ko ng padali.
Oh.
Uso barter ngayon, babarter ko na lang ito muna sa isang bigas. Dagdag cargo din, no?
Hindi naman sa'yo yun eh.
Babayaran na lang kita.
Kahit pa! Hindi mo ba alam na pwede mong padala ng bigas gamit ang Dinari Cash?
Ha? Di nga.
Bubuksan mo lang yung app. Pipiliin mo lang yung grocery. Ang bigas padala at iba pang grocery items gamit ang online palengke. Pwede na rin magpa-deliver ng Jollibee.
Oh, amazeballs!
Baka pa order ka na ng mga grocery items sa Pilipinas.
Wow! Talaga?
Sige na. Balik mo na yun. Baka ma-impass ko sa'yo yan. Pag tinarikas ka.
hey, mag-binary cash para sa Pinas.
Am I back? Nagbalik na ba ako?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. I am really sorry the internet is cranky again tonight. I think, anyway, we are loaded ngayon, Mike. We are loaded. And sorry kanina, nakat na naman kita because of the internet. You were saying something about the value of opportune time.
The opportune time.
Yes. It's not just, it's one way of saying profoundly that there is a time for everything. There is the right time and there is an appropriate time. And if you if you have that confidence in God and not with the other things that you do, it would be easier for you to understand why things has to happen. Why, say for example, if you are in a situation right now that things are not really going well, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. But probably the decision will have to be accompanied by trust in the Lord, tulad ng sabi ng mga guests natin kanina, so that you will understand what else is prepared for you moving forward. Siguro, my last word for tonight is, we've already said about the leading, about obedience, trust in the Lord. Maybe I will zero in about dreams, aspirations, and goals. Kasi many people sometimes are confused about what dreams are and what goals are. Di ba? Ako, I have a dream, and this is my dream life after a long period of time. And to achieve that dream, I have set my goals, my small steps towards it. Sometimes, people give up because yung goal nila hindi nila nakuha. But apparently, it is okay for us to fail on our goals. Yun yung sa mga small goals natin. As long as you keep your dreams intact. Alam mo yun? I don't know if I'm making sense, but it's okay if the goal of succeeding abroad did not happen. Keep the dream up, keep your head up high, and still focus on achieving that dream. Dahil baka hindi naman pala sa abroad ang katuparan ng dreams mo. And going back home to the Philippines is not a setback. It should not sound like that. If you want to succeed and still reach for that dream, you have to accept that one goal just ended, and you have the opportunity to always set another goal or more goals towards achieving the dream. I hope that somehow makes sense. Again,
It makes sense.
I hope so. How about you, Michael, for your final and closing?
May tanong lang ako sa'yo, mabilis lang.
Sige.
Kunyari, kung may time machine ako, what year ka babalik during your life? Ngayon. From now.
Man. That's a very good question. It's very hard to answer also.
Isang year lang.
Yeah, when I was 16 years old, probably. 16 years old. Do you want to know why?
Why?
Sabi mo, isa lang ang tanong mo eh.
Hindi, why? Kasi why? Ano meron sa 16?
16. I wouldn't go beyond 16 kasi I would want to keep that as a time for me to enjoy my childhood and early teenage life. But I think 16 going to 17 or 18 is crucial for mind setting. Alam mo yun? I would have wished that at that young age of mine, mas naintindihan ko na the godly way or the godly perspective. We believe, I believe in God, we pray, but it's not really deep into me that I understand everything, that He causes everything to happen, that in His time, He will make all things beautiful also, that everything that happens to us, good and bad, He uses that, to come up with something better for you that is aligned to your purpose. I hope I understood that already when I was 16 years old.
That's okay.
Bakit? Ikaw ba?
Sa akin, meron a specific year. Sa akin is 2013. Not that far. Not that long ago na. 2013 lang.
7 years ago.
There are series of unwise decisions that I made that lead me to the point that there is no good options at all. Yun yung yan. Kasi ang mahirap doon is it's not even a moral thing. It's unwise decision that keep on that series of little, not even big, little, that leads you to the point that there you have actually no good options. You have to choose on a bad and a worse. So yun siguro yun no. So I really want to encourage yung young ones na who listening to us right now or going to watch this na meron kasing yun nga na may mga unwise decision that we are really aware that it's really unwise, no? And disclaimer ko lang, if you made a wise decision, it doesn't guarantee you success. There is no guarantee on that. If you made a wise decision, it doesn't guarantee you that.
Why?
But it gives you a better odds in life. Parang ganito lang yan. Sa book na sinabi mo kanina, kinote natin is Ecclesiastes. It's very pessimistic. Cynical siya. In a sense na lahat ng sinabi ni Proverbs parang binaliktad niya. But by the end of that chapter, last few verses there, is sinabi naman niya na it's still wise to live on the spirit of Proverbs pa din. But it doesn't really guarantee. There is a beauty that acknowledging we have no control in life. That life is controlled by someone who is sovereign, who is glorious, who is God. Letting Him to control it. There is a beauty on that. There is a total freedom in surrender. It's a paradox na parang, paano ko magkakaroon ng freedom? It feels like I'm limiting myself. That's something you have to think of, though. But no, there's total freedom of giving up control to God. And yun nga, it's increase your chances of doing good in life. But there's no guarantee.
Yes.
No guarantee.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing if you learn that submission, that surrender, and that doesn't mean, Mike. That doesn't mean for the viewers that are watching us right now. It's not about being complacent. It's not about complacency. That's two different things. Submission and recognizing that God is in control means that you still have to do your part. You still have to do your part, but you do not try to become God of your own life. You do not try to do things that are, are totally out of your what they call the capacity, that your life or your priorities get impacted in a bad way. Wow.
Those really that we want. We want autonomy. We want autonomy talaga. Merong something inside of us that we want to be autonomous. But yun nga, it will give us stress, more stress, and more stress. So giving up that control to God, it meaning na distinguish as early as possible the things that you actually don't have control. And living in a day. Actually, mayroon akong nabasang quote na if I can read it.
Sige.
Okay lang ba?
Sure.
Okay lang ba?
Yes. It's a good thing to close with a reference from that.
And then, ano siya, it's not...
Am I having a problem on the internet again?
It's a Christian... Oh, yeah. We're okay. Yeah. Okay. It's from Pascal. We never keep to the present. We recall the past. We anticipate the future. As if we found it too slow in coming and we're trying to hurry it up, or we recall the past as if it's too rapid to fly. We are so unwise that we wander about in times that do not belong to us and do not think of the only one that does. So vain that we dream of time that are not and blindly flee the only one that is. The fact is, the present usually hurts. We thrust it out sight because distresses us. If we find it enjoyable, we are sorry to see it slip away. We try to give it support of the future and think how we're going to arrange things over which we have no control for the time we can never be sure of reaching. Let each of us examine his thoughts. He will find them wholly concerned with the past or the future. We almost never think of the present. And if we do think of, it's only to see what light it throws us plans for the future. The present is never our end. The past and the present are our means. The future alone our end. Those we never actually live, but hope to live. And since we're always planning how to be happy, it's inevitable that we should never be so.
Yeah. I put up the first part of that beautiful message. We are so unwise indeed. We wonder about times do not belong to us.
But I want to know about your thoughts on that Pascal, Blaise Pascal. He's a Christian, what he calls. He's a Christian actually, and his what they call this, his perspective is really something that sarap ng basahin.
Right.
You have like a clear or more simple version of that.
It's somehow related to the I forgot where it is exactly in Matthew that says that focus today for tomorrow has do not worry about tomorrow. Like just focus on today, for tomorrow has its own time for you to worry about it, something like that. Or in this place of place past, I think it is very common for us, to really not let go of the past and wonder about the future so much that we somehow forgot to live in the present time, right? Yes. It's not about not being prepared, or it's not about not being optimistic, but it's about you live what is given to you as a present in the present time, right? Yes, yes. Mike, thank you so
Enjoy
much.
enjoy the sunset, enjoy the food with your family, enjoy
Beautiful.
the conversation with a friend, enjoy your
Yeah.
coffee. This is the things that
Invite.
we have now. We don't know what is tomorrow. But
Exactly.
gaya ka na sabi ni Ayon, it's not that in the surface mukhang careless, di ba? You have to be
Mhm.
careless. No, it's not like that. There's a balance on it. And the fear of the Lord will give you the exact wisdom how to balance it. Kasi you
Yeah.
cannot just live on a life. No, you're going to destroy your life, or you're going to be so careless. Why you want to die before your time? So
Yeah.
so yun nga, let's
Yeah.
live the now, like live, kung sabi nga, kunyari, pag-usap ka with your friend, you really enjoy your good food, not even
Mm.
thinking na, yeah, tomorrow you have work. Because we know every weekend, there is Sunday, we know we're going to start working again. Enjoy the weekend, make the most out of it. Kaya, ayun, thank you, Ayan, for this.
Yes, and thank you. I would like to thank you. Alam mo yan, bro. 2 hours is not enough for us to close a conversation. But I have to close the conversation tonight because there are other friends. 9,000 of them are still with us. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope you had a lot of takeaways. I would like to say hi to Tito Art, who is watching. Tito Art Los Baños, sabi niya dito, I admire people who go home for good while they are doing well overseas. It takes a lot of courage and passion to pursue your career back home or go into business. Indeed, agree to that.
Wow.
Sometimes it's not at the worst situation that you have to decide to go back home. Sometimes you are doing well, you are good at what you do, and then the decision has to come and you take that. Also say hi to Net Javier. Sabi niya, for me, this is not the best time to go home. Let us be thankful na nasa abroad tayo and we have more chances of helping our folks sa Pilipinas. Yes, another good perspective, no? While you are here doing good, probably you are being used to become a blessing to other people as well. And yes, keep Walter inspiring one, Michael, as always. Thank you so
Wow,
much for that. Janice, still up. 1:16 a.m. na daw. No? Amen, amen to that. There is total freedom to giving up control on God. So
Yes,
again,
freedom.
thank you so much, Janice, Kenneth, Joy, and Angel and Romar for being part of this conversation. And Mike, personally, maraming salamat for always being there. Palagi kang ready to share your wisdom with us. And maybe I would close the night. A lot of wisdom has been shared already by our guests. Ako lang, I will just remind everyone of a reminder also for myself that we all have different timelines. Some people finish college or their university at the start of their age at 22, alam mo yun. Some people starts to find a really good career at age 35. Some of them find it at age 20, yung mga millennials, ganyan. Some people get married at 40, some people get married at 30, some are 20, some get children or kids by the age of 36, 37, so on and so on. And same thing I think with finding that success when it comes to work, be it abroad or be it in the Philippines. Some people really stay too long in Dubai because they're enjoying the success of it. Some people have to go back home after 2 years or 1 year or 5 years. That's a different story. We all have different books. We all have different stories. And we all have different timelines. Sabi nga ni Jeff Bezos or somebody else, do not compare your chapter 20 with somebody else's chapter 1. And so vice versa. So with that, I hope you find hope and value in what we have discussed tonight. our song, the song choice that I have for tonight is called Babalik Ka Rin. Not because we are all going back home to the Philippines, but because probably at some point in time, we are walking the path na maaring naligaw tayo ng bahagya. And I'm pretty sure that God is always waiting for us to go back to Him. There's always a U-turn, and God allows U-turn. Babalik din tayo sa Kanya na nagbigay talaga ng kakayanan nating magtrabaho, kakayanan nating mag-isip, kakayanan nating lumipad papuntang abroad. And definitely, babalik at babalik rin tayo sa lahat. So yun lamang po. Maraming salamat. Good night. I hope everyone is safe. And hanggang sa muli, this has been your boy, vlogger Ayon Gonzaga for Boy Dubai Live.
Babalik ka rin.